Welcome to the Her Vibe is Pretty podcast, where you'll be guided on how to step up into your evolved woman,
design your dream life, and start living it. Let's get vibey.
What's up, loves? Welcome back to the Her Vibe is Pretty podcast. My name is Sarah. I am one of your hosts, and today I am bringing you a bonus episode all about my experience with the healing couple in Breathwork Teacher Training to become a Breathwork Facilitator, which I just recently did. This past weekend, I graduated. I am now officially a Breathwork Facilitator. I can now teach meditative breathwork sessions, transformational breathwork sessions, and I'm super excited about all of that. But there have been so many questions about my experience in the training in itself, so I decided to do this little bonus episode on that. So if you are somebody who is considering becoming a breathwork facilitator, or maybe you are just super passionate about self-help, personal growth, spiritual involvement, maybe you're somebody who has been here listening to this podcast for a year and you're super passionate about this work and you want to help guide others onto this journey, this could be a way to do it. And I'm going to help you start to figure that out in this episode. You guys know that Mary and I are such huge believers in the fact that we all have the ability to create whatever reality we desire. And a big part of that is we have the power to create careers that feel really good and fun and soul-filling, and at the same time, make an abundance of money doing them. That is available to each and every one of us on this planet. So maybe you're starting to think about doing something like that. Maybe you're starting to think about either livening up your career or shifting your career or starting a side career, a side hustle, if you will. I don't love the word hustle, but you guys know what I mean. Maybe you're thinking about starting a side hustle that is something that creates money for you, but lights you up. Hang out, listen to this episode, because I truly believe that becoming a facilitator of breathwork is one of the best ways that you guys can do that. And here's why. First of all, breathwork is a super powerful modality, which now's a great time to mention that if you are somebody who doesn't have any interest in being a facilitator and you just want to learn more about breathwork, what the benefits are, what it could do for you in your life, what it's done for me in my life, and just like more about it in general, the science behind it, listen to our episode that's going to drop on Wednesday. This one is specific to my journey with teacher training and making my career something I'm super passionate about and making money doing things that I'm passionate about. So if you're just somebody who wants to dive deeper into your practice and you want to know how to get started on breathwork, I had a bunch of questions about that. Those will all be answered in the episode that drops on Wednesday in the full episode. This is just a bonus one for those of you who are considering maybe becoming a facilitator. All right, so now back to why I believe that becoming a breathwork facilitator is one of the best ways to start to shift your career. It's because it's the most powerful modality that I've come across so far when it comes to decreasing stress, anxiety, overwhelm. It's like a fast track to finding your truth, to connecting to your highest self, to shifting limiting beliefs. So literally everybody on this planet needs breathwork. They really do. And so with that, we need more breathwork facilitators. So not only does everybody need this, but there are so many different things that you can do once you are a breathwork facilitator. So fun fact, the first breathwork session, meditative breathwork session I ever did was super random with this guy who was one of my very first clients when I first started health coaching. We would trade. I would health coach him in exchange for a breathwork session or breathwork sessions. And this guy worked a 9-to-5 job in a big corporate company. And he liked his job, but he also found breathwork and really quickly realized how powerful it is. And so he became a facilitator, and he actually started facilitating within the company that he was already working at. So the company hired him to facilitate breathwork on lunch breaks. And then, so he started doing that, and then he started like a little program just within his company. I mean, it wasn't his company. He didn't own it, but he worked there. He started a program there, and his bosses or whoever owned the company, they were paying him to do that. And it was massively helping his coworkers. And so what ended up happening is his coworkers would start to hire him outside of that to facilitate one-on-one sessions for them because they wanted more of it. So that's an option. If you're not looking to leave your job, but you just want to do something that fills your soul more in addition to what you're already doing, you could so easily bring breathwork to your company, to your bosses, to your coworkers, or maybe you own a company, maybe you own a small business. You could bring that to your employees. Maybe you manage a bunch of people. You could bring that to them. It's literally the best gift that you can give to those in your circle. So that's one route you could take. Obviously, if you're already a coach of some sort or a mentor, being a breathwork facilitator is just going to help your clients that much more. Having breathwork as a tool for your clients is extremely powerful, which I will talk more to that on Wednesday's episode. And third, maybe maybe you're not a business owner yet. Maybe you're still in a 9-to-5, but maybe you want to get out of the 9-to-5, or maybe you want to get out and you do want to start your own business. Maybe you start facilitating breathwork as a little side hustle for now, and then eventually make this your full-time career, because that 100% is possible. So maybe you stay in your job and you start just facilitating some sessions virtually once a week and have people drop in, or maybe you do that and then you have some people who are interested in one-on-ones and you just build from there. So breathwork is so needed. So needed for every single human on this planet. There's so much power in the breath, which I will speak all on Wednesday. But if anything that I just said lights you up, then hang out. Being a breathwork facilitator is the perfect way to further help the clients you already have, or to start making money doing something that you love and that you are passionate about, because you have the ability to do that. So let's dive in. I have quite a few questions from you guys about my journey in general, but I'm just going to start by talking about why I chose to do this Breathwork Teacher Training with the Healing Couple. So if you haven't already researched this, there are definitely a lot of different places that you can be certified as a Breathwork Facilitator. Breathwork is up and coming, and therefore more and more people are leading certification programs. So I just want to talk a little bit about why I chose to work with the Healing Couple, Jess and Corey, and do theirs. First and foremost, energy is everything, always. And Jess and Corey, they actually facilitated breathwork in a different mentorship that I was in. So I was in this program with a woman, Tori Washington. Some of you may have heard me say her name before. I was doing one of her programs, and the Healing Couple works with her in that program to facilitate breathwork. They started facilitating, and I absolutely loved breathing with them. I felt so at peace, so safe. And they include mantras throughout the breathwork session, which is not something that I was familiar with, but something that I learned to love. And now, of course, I do that as well with my clients and people who work with me for breathwork. And so I love that aspect. And I just loved Jess and Corey's energy and their mission. You guys, when I say that they are super freaking passionate about breathwork and about bringing this healing modality to the world and showing us humans that we are our own healers, I mean it. They are an embodiment of what they stand for, which I highly value. Integrity is one of the biggest values for me as a business owner, and watching Jess and Corey run their business and be super in integrity with what they're speaking is just really freaking aligning for me. I mean, I don't know how else to explain it. They're an embodiment of everything that they teach, and their passion shines through. From the first time I ever did breathwork with them, I could literally feel through the screen how much they care about everybody that they work with. They care about the people they lead in breathwork, and they care about all of us that they just trained as breathwork facilitators. They deeply, genuinely care about all of our success. And when I say success, I don't just mean business success. They care about our success as humans and feeling tapped in and connected to our bodies and alive and peaceful. And they know through experience that the breath is the quickest way to create that. So Jess and Corey are just two amazing souls. And I will say that another reason I was really drawn to them is because I think it's super cool that they're coming together as a couple to do all of this, because it just creates so much more. It created like a wholesome energy in the program, because innately females, like biologically females usually, not all of the time, but typically tend to have more feminine energy, and males tend to lean toward their masculine energy. Once again, that is not the case in every situation. And so it was really cool to have both sides of that and both perspectives teaching me how to become a wholesome, well-rounded facilitator. I just feel like males in general have been taught to suppress a lot of emotion, and they don't usually, in my experience, they don't usually feel as safe doing this work. They aren't as open to it as females tend to be. And so learning from Corey was super powerful. Of course, it was super powerful learning from Jess as well. But just speaking to that part of like why I was drawn to them is like I loved hearing the masculine side of it all, and I loved hearing the male, like, and like how Corey felt when he first started breathwork and what he's moved through, and it was just really, really like attractive to me. So I want to go a little bit deeper into your guys' questions, which are all really good. Actually, before I do that, let me just give you like an overview of the journey. We were being trained as facilitators for, it was an 8-week program, but I want to say that all in all, like from the time that I enrolled to the time that I graduated was probably like 11 to 12 weeks. There were like 8 weeks of learning, and then we had an intensive in-person graduation that was a weekend long. And that is also why, another reason why I chose to do this program with the Healing Couple is because a lot of the programs, other programs that I had looked into were like super long and intense, and that's great for some people, but for me personally, I thought it was very appealing that this was only an 8-week program with that graduation because of where I'm at in my life. I didn't really feel aligned with taking 6 months to be certified as a breathwork facilitator, which a lot of the programs are about like 4 to 6 months. And knowing Jess and Corey before this, I trusted that they could deliver me everything that I needed to be a powerful and confident breathwork facilitator within that 8 weeks. I knew that if they chose, because they've actually done, I think they said they've done like 4 different certifications themselves. So if they've done 4 and I trust them in all of their work, like I knew that I could trust that I would walk out of this teacher training feeling super confident and empowered after 8 weeks. So loved that it was only 8 weeks. So basically I enrolled, so I applied, of course, first. They have an application process, which I will include links for that in the bio of this show. But I applied and waited a while because they had a bunch of applicants, and they are definitely in integrity with choosing people who they feel super aligned with as well. They don't take this stuff lightly. They take the breathwork and breathwork facilitation very seriously. And so I don't want this to scare you guys, but the application process is kind of intense. And so I applied, and when I got the acceptance letter, I was so freaking excited, just so excited and so ready to get going. They put us all in a Facebook group, so I was able to meet other like-minded souls who literally were strangers walking into this program. We are all family. They are some of my soulmates, and I will be friends with them for the rest of my life walking out. But anyway, so I enrolled and we got going. And so basically how they work this program is there's a first weekend intensive. So for one weekend, a Saturday and a Sunday, you're on training with them for 6 or 7 hours each day, maybe a little bit longer than that, but you get breaks. And I love those weekend intensives so much. Those are the most healing and powerful weekends for me personally. I feel so connected, so in tune on weekends like those. So that's how we started. And then basically every week from there on out, we had something that we had to flow through. So there were live trainings. It was like a great mix. That's something I really loved about this program, is that it was such a good mix of different ways to learn. So they had that first intensive. There was a mix of pre-recorded trainings, live trainings, and Q&As. So there would be, and they fell for me in my class, we would get on live with them on Tuesday nights. So the live Tuesday nights would either be a training or it would be a Q&A. And then on top of that, there were 4 or 5 pre-recorded trainings that we just had to watch on our own. And then there was the Facebook group that we could engage in whenever we wanted. And then there was the in-person graduation in Texas. So that's just the general overview of how it worked. And like I said, I loved it. I loved the variety. I loved that there were some things that were pre-recorded and some things that were live. I loved that there was 2 full weekends of this, and then everything else was just kind of spread out. So let's get into the questions now that you guys have an overview of why I chose them, why I chose this program specifically, and what it looked like me flowing through it. I want to get into a couple of questions, and I know that from there, I'm sure more will come up for me to share with you guys. So somebody asked, what are 1 to 2 things that were most helpful for you by taking the training? When I reflect on things that were most helpful, I would say, the support that Jess and Corey provide. If you have a question, they're answering it. And they're not just answering it with 1 to 2 words. And I would know, you guys, I got not teased, but it was a fun little joke. I was literally the question asker of the group. I asked so many questions. And every time I asked a question, they didn't give me a 1, 2, 3 word response. They gave me a 5-minute response. Every single question I asked, there was such a full response. So I would say that's probably the most helpful, because I had a lot of questions come up and I'm really good at thinking of questions. So them just being so open to receiving the questions, accepting of the fact that I asked a lot of questions, they actually appreciated that I asked questions, which I love somebody who appreciates a question. And the fact that they just explained it so in depth, every single one of them, and gave me the answer that I needed to succeed was super helpful. And I'll give you one more since you asked for 1 to 2. I would say that the second thing that was most helpful was the way that they believed in us. Truly, their belief in us as trainees. Because you guys, I want to say too, in the program there was a mix. So there were, I think, 3 of us who were already coaches, who already had our own business. And then there were a few who were just starting out, who have no business yet. 1 or 2 of them had just left careers to go into this. The other one is a stay-at-home mom, I believe, and she's now getting into facilitating breathwork. So the reason I'm sharing that with you guys is because we all started out on different levels, yet Corey and Jess had this deep belief in all of us. And I'm sure you guys can resonate, but when somebody believes in you like that to no end, it truly helps you stay motivated to complete the lessons and to show up live and to do the damn thing and to do your homework and to not only go through the training, but to take what you've learned and put it out in the world after. I know that there was at least one individual when we started that didn't know if she was going to actually facilitate after the training. She thought maybe she was just there to learn about breathwork and just dive deeper into her own practice. And then by the end, she's so ready to do this thing, to facilitate. And I know that a big part of that was the belief that Jess and Corey have in all of us, in our power and our ability to succeed in facilitating this modality, and of course, their strong belief in the power of the breath. So those are the two things that were most helpful with working with Jess and Corey specifically. I also got asked, was there anything not helpful that you wished would have happened? My answer to that is truly no. There's literally nothing. Corey and Jess are also very, if you tell them you need something, they give it to you. Like, truly. And that kind of goes along with my question asking. But like, I remember there was a point where I asked a question and they're like, oh yeah, we'll create an entire training for you on that. Let us do that for you. And they did. They created an entire 45-minute long pre-recorded training for what I wanted. So they're really great at listening and hearing you and honoring what you need, because they want you to succeed in this. If you are being certified as a breathwork facilitator through them, they want you to succeed, and they will do everything in their power to assist you in that. And they're also really open to constructive criticism. I hate that word. I really don't like the vibe of that word. But it's true. So they sent us a form to fill out at the end of the training asking us to give them feedback and to, they asked us for like ways that they can make the program better in the future. And it was really, really hard for me to come up with anything. There were like a couple of like minor things that I came up with that are like super irrelevant to even talk about on here, because like the things that I suggested, like it's not like that would have improved my success in any way. It just would have, I think, made for like an even greater flow of the program. Actually, I'm just going to give you guys one because I feel like I'm like making this a negative thing when it's not at all. So you guys, I said I'm the question asker of the group. And so whenever I had a question, and maybe you guys can resonate this if you've ever been through like a college class or anything like that, if there's something that you've ever been through that you had a lot of questions come up, I would like put my questions in my notes on my phone, and then I have like a document on Google Docs for my questions, and then I'd have a piece of paper in my journal with written down questions. My questions were just all over the place. And so something that I suggested is like have a form for us to submit questions throughout, the entire program whenever they come up, so that they just stay organized and you guys have them right away. So minor little things, but they're just really great at giving you what you need when you need it. Like I said, like to the best of their ability. And something else that's really cool with them is that they really are great at like boundaries. And I don't want to go deep into boundaries today because that's not what this episode's about, but they're really great at setting boundaries in their business. And as a business owner myself, it was really cool to see that and to feel that energy, because if you are a business owner or an aspiring business owner, you have maybe heard or maybe you will learn that boundaries are a huge piece of making your career that you're passionate about feel nourishing. Because if you don't have boundaries, burnout is inevitable, and then that defeats the entire purpose of doing something you love and making money while doing it. All right, moving on. So I was asked, do you read scripts or do you memorize, or does it come from the heart in the moment? So this question, what she's asking is when I'm facilitating breathwork. So if I'm facilitating a virtual session or if I'm facilitating an in-person session, do I read a script, do I memorize, or do I speak from the heart? Mostly I speak from the heart and from the intuition in the moment. I will say that Jess and Corey help you with this. So if you're not somebody who's used to just flowing and speaking from the intuition, like I was, because I have done meditations, guided meditations in the past. I've also been a yoga teacher, or I am a yoga teacher. So I'm like getting good at just doing it intuitively. However, Jess and Corey help you so much with this. So what they did was at first, they provided a script for us to read to start to practice, get familiar with our voice, and start to familiarize ourselves with like the structure of the breathwork session in itself. So here's some ideas of what you could say for the opening, and here's some ideas of mantras you could bring in, and here's some ideas of how you could close it. They give you those examples. And with mantras, I will say that I do have a running list of mantras that I like to use for my sessions. So I probably have a list of like 75 mantras, and half of those Jess and Corey provided for me. I have that list and I always have it on hand. Now, when I teach in person, obviously, like I don't carry papers with me. I'm not going to have that. But when I am teaching virtually, I do have that list of mantras kind of just off to the side to pull from if I need them and if I am struggling to come up with an intuitive mantra. And honestly, I kind of just like having that list sometimes because I am somebody who has like my favorite mantras. And so it's good for me to just like glance over at the list and invite in a mantra that isn't like super ingrained in my system because I don't say that one all the time. Like, for example, I love the mantra, I am enough. I am worthy. And if I could, I would literally say those the entire session every single time. So besides that, I really do it intuitively. However, if you're just starting out and if that intimidates you, you absolutely can write yourself a little script and read from that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that when you're starting out. Eventually, you will be able to do it intuitively. I know that all of you have that power. But if that feels super uncomfortable at first, I don't think there's anything wrong with writing yourself a script, using your own words, using your own voice, and glancing at it. And who knows, maybe you'll get into the session and you'll end up going off script because I know that when I first started doing this coaching thing, that's what I would do. I would write out these scripts and then I usually wouldn't even use them. But if you're somebody who gets nervous to get yourself more comfortable, there's really nothing wrong with that. One more piece I want to speak on to this question is when you do breathwork, if you're facilitating breathwork, especially if you're doing it one-on-one, if you're facilitating a one-on-one client, you almost have to really train that intuitive muscle. You have to be able to drop into your body, drop into your intuition, and give that client what they need on that specific day in that specific time. If you're doing groups, you're going to plan a theme. So like I'm doing a theme of stress and anxiety next week. I'm doing a live session all around stress and anxiety. And so with that, I will be able to brainstorm some mantras that I'm going to use around that theme. And of course, some will come up intuitively as I'm teaching. However, I'm working with a one-on-one client right now, and when she shows up to her sessions, I don't know what she needs. I don't know what she needs to let go of or what she needs to invite in more of before the session. So we get on the session and she tells me like, hey, I want to release this today and I want to invite more of this in. So I have to intuitively create the session around that. But don't let that intimidate you. You all have an intuition. You all have a soul in your body that you do have the ability to speak from. It's just a practice. And some things that help you and will help you practice tapping into that is breathwork and meditation, because those two things are really great at connecting you with that part of you and quieting the mind who always wants to get in the way. All right, next question. I was asked, do you feel equipped enough after the training to take individuals and groups through breathwork? Absolutely. I'm sure that you probably already picked up on that by now, but absolutely. And not only do I feel equipped enough to do that, but I feel excited too. I feel more passionate about where I'm at in life right now than I ever have before. Like I said, Jess and Corey, they give you what you need to succeed. And if you're ever struggling with something, they walk you through it. They coach you through it. They help you overcome your blocks through coaching and through the breath throughout the entire 8 weeks or so that you can feel confident and powerful in facilitating and using your voice after leaving the training. And the last question that I have was, did you feel the investment was worth what you received? If no, why? Here's what I'll say about the investment for me, at least in my class, which I'm not sure what the price will be in this next round. They could have charged more. Absolutely. They could have charged more. I was looking at a couple of other programs before I knew Jess and Corey were launching one, and the investment was like very high. And it was like a really, really big, scary investment, which if you guys have been here before, I have an entire episode about investing in itself. So I'm not saying that I wouldn't have, paid that higher number. I would have. For those specific programs, it didn't feel aligned for me to do so. When I saw the investment of Jess and Corey's program, I was like, okay, like absolutely, I'm doing this. Like there's no doubt in my mind. After going through the program, they absolutely could have charged more. So yes, it was worth every single penny plus some. And I really do hope that they charged more in the next one because they're so freaking worth it. I mean, I get the chills talking about it, but their passion for this work, their passion for bringing the breath work and bringing the breath and bringing breath work to the entire world is so deep and honestly priceless, you guys. Working with them truly is priceless. Like, I don't even think that you can put this is the number it's worth on Jess and Corey's program because it's priceless. Their energy is priceless. Who they are as individuals is priceless. Their passion is priceless. Like, there's not a dollar amount to describe their worth or anybody else's. This program was absolutely worth it. Every single penny. If the investment is what you're scared of, take the leap, take the risk. It's those investments that are equal parts scary and exciting that are the ones that always, always change our lives. It's never failed me. Every time I've invested, even with the things that, and if this is something that you want to learn more about, go back to my investment episode. It's titled something along the lines of, I invested $33,000 in myself when I was living paycheck to paycheck. Here's why. So go find that episode and listen to it. But there was once a time where I invested in a coach, and it was when I first started my business. And looking back, I don't align with that coach at all. I don't align with his values. I don't align with how he teaches to run business. He teaches very from his masculine, and I'm very in my feminine, and that's how I want to run my business, which is not how everybody wants to run their businesses. Obviously not him and a lot of his other clients, and that's fine. But looking back, I'm like, there's a part of me who wants to say, I wish I wouldn't have worked with that coach. But the other part of me is like, I'm so freaking glad that I invested. At that time, I was like investing, I think it was like $10,000 over 3 months. And I did not have that. I was fresh out of college. I didn't have it, but I made the commitment to pay it. And I did. And I started the business and I did the damn thing. And I started helping people. And anyway, not the point. Looking back, I don't love the way he taught me business, but I don't see it as, like, I'm so glad that I invested that. I'm so glad I went through that experience because every time you invest in yourself to grow in one way, whether it's in a teacher training or investing in your mental well-being, your emotional well-being, investing in your spiritual well-being, anytime you investing in your business, anytime you invest to level up, it's always, always going to be worth it. And I stand by that belief. And if you want to try to prove me wrong, please do. DM me. I'd love to have a conversation because I've never seen that fail. I haven't. So yes, it is worth the investment. Jess and Corey are two amazing human beings who, like I said, care so much about the happiness and peace on this planet. They care so much about other humans. You can feel that so deeply through their energy. I'm sure you already have felt it if you follow them. So if you are considering becoming a breathwork facilitator, I highly recommend applying to their program. Their next round is going to start this fall, and I'm going to provide a link in the bio or the show notes of this episode to apply. This doesn't open to the public until Wednesday, so be sure to make some time either today or tonight or tomorrow. Carve out some time to get centered and to apply. You obviously, if you're listening to this on Wednesday or after Wednesday, which let me give you guys dates because I'm very well aware that you guys could be listening to this in the future. This is Wednesday, the 23rd of June in 2021. And even if you are listening to this in 2022 or 2023, I'm sure that Jess and Corey are still running this program and I'm sure that it's still absolutely thriving. So definitely still go check out what the status is with the application process if you're listening to this in the future. But if you're listening to it today, or if you're listening to it while this specific launch is happening, go apply and see what happens. If you get accepted, take a risk on yourself. Take the leap. It's going to be so worth it. Whether you end up facilitating breathwork at the end of this or not, it's going to be worth every single penny. And gosh, I didn't even talk about the in-person graduation that was like very retreat style. I had so many freaking breakthroughs. I connected so deeply with humans, deeper than I've ever connected with humans in my entire life. And it was because of Jess and Corey. Like, they facilitated these practices all weekend that just like dropped me into my body and allowed me to open my heart and connect with these humans who, like I said, were strangers 8 weeks ago and now are some of my best friends, definitely my soulmates, and I will be friends with them for the rest of my life. So if any part of this is lighting you up, if any part of this episode excited you today, go apply. And like I said, I just want to remind you guys, this is like the perfect entryway into doing something that you love and making money while doing it. Whether you take this modality and bring it into your current workplace, you start being a breathwork facilitator as a side hustle, you can do this business online, completely virtually. You can also do it in person. You can do both. You can go into yoga studios and offer to teach a breathwork class there, get paid for it that way. Or you could make your way into starting an entire business around breathwork like Jess and Corey did. Or you can add this to your current skills and your current clients if you're already a coach. So go apply. The link is in the bio. Tell them that I sent you. I love it when I can support people that I fully believe in. So make sure they know that I sent you over so that they know that I am in full support of everything that they're doing in the world. And also, if you are somebody who is interested in this and you're interested in going deeper into your own breathwork practice yourself, because that's also something that I recommend, is if you're going to become a breathwork facilitator, you got to do the work yourself first. So you have to embody what you are about to teach. You have to understand why you want to teach this fully. So if you want to go deeper into your breathwork practice, I'm also going to provide a link to hop on the waitlist or waitlists of a couple of breathwork offerings that I am about to drop. So the first one is an 8-week course where we will be doing meditative breathwork once a week. This will be explained a little bit more in the episode on Wednesday, but meditative breathwork is a breathwork session that is 20 minutes or longer that takes you into those very transformative, deep experiences, whereas integrative breathwork is kind of like the maintenance breathwork. It's like a 10-ish minute practice that you can do throughout your everyday. You can do it in place of a meditation, or you can do it, just to like shift your energetic state. If you're experiencing sensations of anxiety, but you have like a big speech coming up or a meeting coming up, you can do a little integrative session to get you feeling in alignment again. So anywho, the 8-week course, I will announce the theme in a couple of days, but this is going to be a course where every week I will be showing up live to facilitate you guys through an entire meditative breathwork session. So you can hop on the waitlist for that, or you can hop on the waitlist for my very new membership. Once again, the name of this membership will be dropped in a couple of days. I'm not ready to release all the details yet, but this membership is going to be a month-to-month membership that's going to be full of it's going to be a portal of these integrative breathwork sessions, meditations that are all 12 minutes or shorter, and embodiment practices. So if either of those are intriguing to you, hop on the waitlist, because those of you on the waitlist, not only will you be the first to know all of the details about these two different programs that I'm offering, but you will also get all of the discounts. So you will be getting the membership and you will be getting the 8-week course, one or both, for cheaper than everybody else if you're on the waitlist. So if you want to go deeper into your breathwork practice yourself before becoming a facilitator or before applying to become a facilitator, hop on the waitlist. In a couple days, you will receive emails on all the details. And if it feels like a great fit for you, I would love to be your breathwork facilitator and guide you deeper into this life-changing modality. So that is it for this bonus episode today. I hope that this was helpful. If you guys have any more questions about the program, please reach out, DM me on Instagram at Sarah Jean Harkin. I will provide that in the bio as well. And I would be more than happy to chat and answer all of the things, because I am so grateful for this program. I'm so grateful this exists. They just did such an amazing job. One last remark. Jess and Corey literally put on the best facilitator program that I've ever been through. I've been through a couple of others. I've been through yoga teacher training. I've been through coaching certifications, and Jess and Corey are like, honestly, they're the ones out of everybody, and not saying that the other programs weren't great, they were for sure, but Jess and Corey like nailed it. I shared this with them at the end of my journey with them. I was like, you guys literally nailed it. Like you checked all the boxes as to what in my opinion, what a certification or facilitator program should look like and should be. Like they literally hit it all. I'm mind blown. They're literally magical unicorns. And of course they're magical unicorns of humans, right? Because they are super into breathwork. So you can be a magical unicorn too if you start your breathwork journey. All the links, all the deets are in my bio for all of these things. I will talk to you all very soon. I hope you have an amazing day. Thank you for listening to this bonus episode. And if you are new here, be sure to scroll through the rest of the Her Vibe is Pretty podcast and choose a couple of titles that look aligning for you. Listen to the other episodes because our podcast is freaking powerful and it's such a vibe. So if you're new, be sure to check out the other episodes. I will talk to you all on Wednesday. Bye for now.